Thank you for joining my session. I'm registered psychotherapist qualifying in Ontario, and every day I'm trying to share some evidence-based practices and information to improve your mental well-being and to help you to cope with challenges. And today we continue to discuss about overthinking, and we will explore something many experience unintentionally, unconsciously, overthinking and anxiety and their impact on the brain, and why this is happening, what's happening in your brain, and what you can do in order to help yourself and to decrease overthinking and to learn to react to overthinking in a manner that will bring you closer towards your goals. So if this session was useful for you, what you would like to achieve as a result of listening to this video, how you would like to respond, for instance, if you find yourself overthinking over and over again, how are you generally responding? Is this turns to anger, frustration, exhaustion, and what you would like to do different, how you would like to change your response? Would you like to be a kinder, calmer, more patient version of you? Would you like to spend less time in your head? And what difference would it make for you if you were able to react differently, to become the version of you that you want to become? What would you notice about yourself, and how would this impact people around you, your time, your success and productivity? And what difference can it make for you in 5 years, 10 years? So sometimes our mind replays the past, anticipates the future, and keeps running scenarios over and over again. Oftentimes, when you notice if you are overthinking, you are generally being either in the past or in the future. And this mind's mechanism was made because to make us safe, to help us to stay safe. And however, when it works excessively, this might cause challenges for you to staying present, to focusing on your work. It might be difficult to stay present in your relationships or to sleep. And it can be challenging to preserve your emotional ups and downs, because repeating thoughts might make it disturbing for you and can be stressful for you. It can drain your energy, decrease your productivity, reduce your motivation, and even affect sleep. But you can learn how to respond to these thoughts and to notice these thoughts by understanding how your brain works and what's happening in your brain. It will be easier for you to understand yourself, to be more self-compassionate towards yourself, and to achieve the change that you want to see in yourself. Overthinking and anxiety are linked to brain's threat detection system. Evolutionarily, this system helped us to survive, but today it often might be exhausting. Amygdala is the part of brain that detects threat and triggers anxiety. And prefrontal cortex is the place that is responsible for planning, decision making, and attention. And when anxiety increases, this area becomes less effective, causing repetitive thoughts. So, in this manner, overthinking and anxiety are interconnected. And each time when you find yourself thinking about certain topics over and over again, if you continue to think, this would cause you even more anxiety. It can be difficult to focus at that moment, to decide, to plan, to read, to work. Therefore, breaking this cycle is important in order to help yourself. And scientific studies show that overthinking reduces motivation, attention, and create physical fatigue. So if you are constantly overthinking, it can be even feeding anxiety and depression. Therefore, it's important to notice thoughts that are draining your energy, because you can use this energy, your time, for something to create positive change in your life, to contribute to other people's lives. And instead of worrying and feeling anxious, you can use this time for something useful, to become the version of you that you want to become, or to do anything that you want to achieve. Imagine, for instance, if you had a meeting and received a message from a boss You might be overthinking about it. Maybe you think, did I misunderstood? Maybe they are upset. And maybe you are thinking about what caused this. And thinking about it even more will make you spending time in your head. Maybe it's hours, and it means wasting your energy and worrying for things that you can't control. So, when you find yourself overthinking, instead of continuing to think, responding differently with an action, for instance, might help to break the cycle. So, what are you generally doing when you are overthinking? Are you staying isolated? Are you staying alone? So, looking from here, for instance, and reminding yourself about times when you are overthinking, decide for yourself what you would like to do differently. Instead of spending time in your head, what do you prefer to do? Is it reading some pages, for instance? Is it going for a walk? Is it doing something that you enjoy? So once you notice these thoughts, when you choose to react differently by time, it will become as a habit, and you would notice that overthinking is decreasing. Or maybe you constantly replay an argument, memory that made you feel frustrated or sad. Or maybe you exaggerate past mistakes or assume you know what other people think. Maybe you are blaming yourself. This keeps your brain in overdrive and drains mental energy and creates more anxiety. And writing down your thoughts, journaling is one of strategies that many people find helpful. And it was found by research also that writing down your thoughts, journaling helps to decrease overthinking considerably, because when you see your thoughts from distance, you are more likely to see the situation from different perspectives and to gain alternative interpretations. Or, for instance, oftentimes our thoughts are exaggerated or they are not close to reality, but when they are in our head, we don't notice that they are not necessarily close to reality. And that's the cause why they generate anxiety. But when you see them from distance, it's more likely that you will generate different perspectives, different interpretations of the thoughts that you have. And this might help to decrease anxiety and overthinking. And as your brain magnifies negative scenarios, replacing with constructive thoughts, uh, also at that moment when you see your thoughts, it's more likely that you will create another meaning from the experience. And oftentimes, not what the experience itself, but the meaning that we have about the experience is the one that's bothering us the most. For instance, imagine if somebody has failed exam, they can see it as an opportunity to study more, to learn more, and they can be successful the second, the third time, and they can see it as something that will make them stronger. Or on the other hand, another person who has failed the exam, they might see it as a disaster and they might blame themselves that they are failure. And in this case, even if they had experienced the same situation, having different meaning would change their mood, their behavior. Therefore, becoming aware of thoughts that we have from experiences we lived can help you to find different meanings from them, to find thoughts or meaning that would be serving you more to achieve the goals you want to achieve. So, when your mind starts racing, what does it say? Can you hear the exact words? Maybe it's something like, I'm going to mess this up. What if everything goes wrong? This is never gonna end. It's never going to improve. And let's slow this down. What is the thought word for word, not the feeling, the sentence? And as you hold the thought in your mind, is it predicting you about worst case scenarios? Is it assuming you know what other people think? oftentimes, for instance, we are mind reading, we have different opinions, thoughts about other people, but oftentimes everyone is concerned with themselves. And for instance, you can try to experiment when you have a thought about certain person that they might be thinking this way. Try to ask what's their opinion, and oftentimes you would notice that it doesn't have anything in common with what you thought. However, thinking about it for hours in your head is not being useful and even can create more tension, exhaustion, anxiety. Therefore, assuming that you know what other people think about certain situations might also be the case why you are overthinking. And is it treating things as all or nothing? For instance, oftentimes we notice that whenever something is happening to us, we have very limited view of what's happening, or we are stuck in just one part of that truth. However, we don't notice any other things, any other perspectives. For instance, like there are some points that we are not able to see at that moment, but when we step back or when we are able to see the thought from outside, it's easier to find other meanings from the same experience. Or maybe we are too stuck on one of our versions. For instance, in the previous example where a student thought that they are a failure, when they constantly think about the same topic, it will cause them difficulties to study more, to develop more, to learn new skills. And at that point, for instance, they are just stuck on their student version. However, maybe there are other versions of them. Somebody like a colleague, someone's father or mother, grandparent, and a student. And so we have different versions of us, but oftentimes when we are ruminating, overthinking, we are stuck just on one version of us, and that's the stuckness point. But when we notice our other versions, a successful version, for instance, somebody who succeeded in the past, this failure doesn't define you. It just uh, it can be accepted as something that provides you information about which skills you are lacking, what you need to succeed. So considering it from outside, thinking about different versions of us, and also noticing that we are not anxiety, we are not exhaustion, we are not anger, we just someone who is experiencing these feelings, hold the place for these feelings, can help to create psychological flexibility, a place where we can rest, relax, and help us to slow down and react with the manner that we want to react, to respond to this overthinking, anxiety, or challenging internal experiences that we have. And also, oftentimes you would notice that whenever you are overthinking or you have anxiety after that, you might feel as if your body is frozen or stuck, and moving at that point, or doing some somatic experiences, like maybe touching with something that's cold, or doing some exercises like stretching, going outside, walking, would help your body to relax. And generally, when you feel relaxed, your attention goes somewhere out from your head, and changing environment can also help to break this cycle. So, what if we looked at this thought not as necessarily the truth, but just as a hypothesis? Or imagine, for instance, that you are sitting and there is watching a TV, and there is some information or stories that you read. In the same manner, your brain always generates some opinions, some thoughts, but this doesn't mean that all the thoughts that you have, that they are necessarily the truth. And the problem starts when we got hooked with these thoughts, when we are too much attached to the thought. But if we are able to see it just as an information, it will be easier for us to respond to the thoughts differently. And also imagining someone you care, for instance, deeply, came you with the exact thoughts that you have at that point. Oftentimes, it's difficult for us to stay kind or to express compassion towards ourselves, but it's easier to give suggestions, find solutions for someone else. And imagining yourself in different version, seeing yourself from outside can also can help to find more different insights about the situation. For instance, what would you say to them? Would you be harsh, certain, catastrophic? Would you be angry, or would you be more measured, more compassionate, more realistic? So, what would it be like to offer that same response to yourself? What difference can it create? And how much time does your mind spend going over this again and again? And what do you think would happen if you told your mind, not now, I'll come back to this later? So, again, noticing your thoughts, accepting your thoughts, and shifting your attention, your energy towards things that you think are important for you, oftentimes might help to break the cycle of overthinking and help you to focus your time and energy on something else. You might have a thought like, if I do this, something bad will happen. And if you have, for instance, constant thoughts like that, avoidance can also be increasing anxiety. Imagine if you are afraid to fly, for instance, you start to avoid planes, and maybe you have avoided it for a long time. And each time when you are not flying, your brain starts to interpret this avoidance as if something that is really that is really dangerous, even if there is no danger, or according to statistics, very little percentage of threat or danger. But as you are avoiding, your mind can accept it as if there is real threat, and that would cause even more anxiety. So each time when you are avoiding things that make you anxious, this can increase your anxiety. Therefore, exposing yourself towards situations that cause anxiety, experimenting, oftentimes is helpful to teach your brain that there is nothing to feel scared so much. And many of my clients, they notice that once they start to fly, anxiety is decreasing considerably, and it's much more easier to fly for second, third, fourth times. So, have you ever actually tested that, not in your head, but in real life? What's one small, safe way you could experiment with that belief? Not to prove yourself wrong, but to gather information. Because right now your mind is making predictions. Like each time when you are listening to your brain, it's predicting about future. But predictions are not the facts, and you can shift this. Instead of saying this will go badly, what difference can it make for you if you say, I'm having the thought that this will go badly? And this helps to create distance between the thought and to notice it just as information possibility, but not the literal truth. And can you feel the difference when you are able to notice the thoughts? You're no longer inside the thought. You are no longer, like, this thought is no longer holds you back or controls your actions. Your freedom is increasing, and it's more likely that you would respond to the thought the way that you want. And when the thinking gets loud, because it will sometimes, can you bring yourself back to right now, to present moment? Because oftentimes when you are worrying or overthinking or ruminating, you will find yourself either in the future or in the past. But anytime when you notice what's happening around you, what are some thoughts, sounds, maybe what are your feelings inside your body, is there any smell, any colors, you will bring yourself to present moment, and this would also decrease rumination. So, are you actually, so anytime when you are overthinking, ask yourself, are you actually in danger? Are you the feeling that you have at that moment? Are you anxiety? Are you the thought? Or is your mind just trying to protect you from something that hasn't happened yet? Or does this fear or anxiety, exhaustion tell something important about you? Maybe about your needs. Maybe you need to rest. So, what strategies are you using when you have repeating thoughts that visit you over and over again? Which thoughts do you have that come along with them? And how do you respond to them? Are you aware of your feelings at that moment? How do you want to be when disturbing thoughts visit you and this causes anxiety, frustration, anger? What does your anger want in that moment? Is it trying to protect you? Is it teaching or trying to teach you something? Or is it reacting to feeling out of control? And how would it look like if you could feel in control? What would make you feel in control or peaceful at that moment? And how do you want to be if overthinking causes frustration, will bring future frustration? Do you want to be someone who is patient, grounded, in control of your actions, even when your mind feels noisy? And if overthinking leads to frustration, what do you want to do with that frustration? How do you want to respond? Do you want to react quickly or respond intentionally? What would it look like to feel anger but not to be driven by it? Now think about a time, even a small one, when the thoughts showed up and you handled them just a little bit better or the way you wanted to respond. What was different in that moment? What did you do even slightly that helped? It's important because it tells us something that you already have pieces of solution. And so building on that, what is one small thing you could do the next time the thoughts come back? Maybe it's noticing that is not that thought again, and maybe it's pausing instead of reacting. Maybe it's choosing not to follow the thought all the way down the spiral. And in the if the thoughts keep coming, and it's quite likely that they would, because everyone has automatic thoughts. How do you want to respond on purpose? Not perfectly, just intentionally, because the goal here is not to stop overthinking completely. It's not possible because every human being has automatic thoughts. But the goal is to, once you notice it, learning to react differently and to become to get you closer towards the person, the version of you whom you want to become. So, to become the kind of person who can experience these thoughts, who can notice these thoughts without losing yourself inside them. And I'll leave you with this next time it happens, and it will, instead of asking, how do I stop this? Try asking yourself, who do I want to be right now while this is happening? And then take one small step in that direction. And at times when your mind demands questions that you have no answer, what it could look like to say, I don't have complete certainty and I'm willing to live anyway, because oftentimes we are not always capable of controlling everything. There is always stress, chaos around us, and even in the middle of this chaos or stress or challenges, how do you want to be, how you want to respond, not perfectly, but more intentionally, because the goal here isn't to eliminate overthinking or anxiety completely. It's to change your uh, relationship with the thoughts and feelings. And the next time your mind starts uh, spinning, I want you to pause and ask, what am I thinking right now? Is this thought completely true? Is there another way to see this? And do I need to solve this now, or can it wait? And who I want to be in the middle of this chaos and challenges and difficult thoughts. And what small action could I take at this moment instead of staying stuck in my hand? And most importantly, what would it look like to treat myself with the same patience I offer to others. And you don't have to win against your thoughts. You just have to learn how to stand beside them without letting them run your life and hold you back. If someone whom you care about were watching you in that moment when you are able to respond to these thoughts differently, the way that you want to respond, would they see that? What would they see at that moment? What would be different about you? What would they notice in your about your body, about your actions, about your words? If you continued responding this way over time, for instance, if you were able to stay patient, grounded, if you were able to focus, to take action, even during times when you have anxiety and overthinking, how would that start to change your day to day life? Would you spend less time stuck in your head? Would you have more energy? Would you feel more present? And what would you be doing instead of overthinking? Because it's not just about removing something, it's about making space for something else. So, if overthinking is decreasing, what would be filling its space? And let's connect this back to you as a person. Who are you becoming in that preferred future when overthinking is decreasing and something is filling its space? How does it help you to become? Are you someone who is caring? Are you someone who is calmer, more intentional? Are you more confident? Are you more grounded, more patient? What qualities would be showing up there? And how would other people react to it? What difference would it make in your daily life, in your routines, in your relationships, in your career, studies? What would it take, even in a very small way, to start being that version of you today? Maybe it's catching one thought instead of 10. Maybe it's pausing once instead of reacting immediately. Overthinking, it's not a flaw. You are not broken. It's just the way human brain works, and it's your brain trying to protect you. And awareness management is essential here. If you want to break this cycle, manage anxiety, and calm your mind, reach out for individual therapy sessions if this is considerably impacting your functionality, or you have too much challenges with sleeping, or it's difficult for you to cope on your own. It's always important to refer to a professional. And don't miss our psychology content. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on your notifications, and don't forget to share it with someone who might benefit from it. And you can always take control of your mind by choosing peace. You are capable of it. And even the sign that you have watched this video tells that you are capable of change, that you are willing to change. Hope this video was helpful for you. If you have any questions, don't forget to leave your questions in the comments, and see you in the next videos. Take care of yourself.